All right, well, let's go ahead and get started. I don't want to keep anybody long. I think if you're catching the end of the football game, got another game coming on after this. So I'm going to jump in, jump out, let you guys continue to enjoy your black eyed peas and your greens and your cornbread and everything that you got going today. So let's start with a praise break moment. And I'm just going to give you a praise break moment that is very simply and simple for you to get your praise on with. And the praise break moment is you. Yeah, you're the praise break moment. You made it. You made it to see another year. That's a praise break moment. And all of the things that happened, and all of the things that could have taken you out last year, of all the things that you've been through. You've been through many mountaintop highs and valley lows, but yet you're still here. That's a praise break moment. You ought to give God praise that you made it. You made it. You made it in spite of everything, in spite of the trials, in spite of the situations, in spite of sicknesses, in spite of death of friends and loved ones. You are still here. That's a praise break moment. God has not abandoned you. God has not left you. God is still right beside you, and you're still in the land of the living, and you're blessed to go from a whole year of 2023 to the first day of 2024. It's a praise break moment for me. It's not guaranteed. It's not like everybody that I know got a chance to be where I am or to be where you are, but you made it. Praise break moment is you. God kept you another year. And that is something that you should raise a hand, open your mouth, and say thank you. Thank you, God, because you didn't have to do it. It could have went another way at some point last year. There were folk who were celebrating last night on New Year's Eve, and didn't get to see the day. The fact that you made it, you the praise break. It's you. Why don't you break into a praise and say thank you? All right. For this new year, I want to just begin with the text to review with you tonight that'll help just walk you into the new year. General walk-in text that I believe will help minister to you and maybe be your first bookmark of the year. So if you're bookmarking your Bible, or you're highlighting I believe you can still highlight even though you have a mobile device. You can still highlight, and so maybe this one would be the first highlight for you this year, and that is out of the book of Isaiah, chapter 46. And we'll concentrate on verses 3 through 10 for your hearing. Isaiah 46, 3 through 10. And you'll find these words. Listen to me, descendants of Jacob, all you who remain in Israel. I have cared for you since you were born. Yes, I carried you before you were born. I will be your God throughout your lifetime until your hair is white with age. I'm going to shout myself in a minute. I made you, and I will care for you. I will carry you along and save you. To whom will you compare me? Who is my equal? Some people pour out their silver and gold and hire a craftsman to make a god from it. Then they bow down and worship it. They carry it around on their shoulders, and when they set it down, it stays there. It can't even move. And when someone prays to it, there is no answer. It can't rescue anyone from trouble. Do not forget this. Keep it in mind. Remember this. you guilty ones. Remember the things I have done in the past, for I alone am God. I am God, and there is none like me. Only I can tell you the future before it even happens. Everything I plan will come to pass, for I do whatever I wish. That was Isaiah, God speaking through prophet Isaiah, chapter 46, verses 3 through 10. I'd like to talk for a few moments as you walk into your new year with this subject. And so it begins. And so it begins. If I can give you anything to walk into this new year with, it would be these first steps. I will call them the first steps of the year. Step one, remember who got you here. Yeah. He says it in the text that I care and I carried you. Remember who got you here. Of all the things and all the things that could have happened that have transpired in your life, the good things that you've been able to enjoy, the blessings that have come in your way, the things that only God could have given to you, remember who got you here. He says that in the middle of the text. And at the very end of the text, he says, remember what I've done in the past. Not only remember who got you here, but remember what he did in the past. Last year, you've seen God move in so many ways. It is only fitting that you remember that he's the same God that got you to where you are now, and he's the same God that walks with you in this new year. Remember who got you here. That's the first step. Oh yes, the devil would love nothing more than to continue this year making you forgetful. Oh yes, he does a master job at making us forget about what God has done and forgetting who got us here. Once he throws the trouble your way, once he throws the trial, once you're in the middle of the storm, just like Peter in the water, walking on the water, you take your eyes off the prize, which was Jesus. He took his eyes off of Jesus and he began to sink. No. Remember who got you here. Remember the one from the past that did it is the same one that can do it again. Remember, that's the first step. Step one. Step two is remember what didn't move for you. Yeah. Don't just remember who got you here. You need to remember what didn't move for you. In this text, we hear God speaking about the idols that we make that don't do anything. They don't move. They stand still. You pray to them. This year, let nothing be your idol. Let nothing take the place of God. Let nothing be so big in your life that it overwhelms you to a point that you forget that it's not God. That you forget that God is the one who is the bigger picture to everything that you have. Remember what didn't move for you. Well, we can't idolize our stuff. We can't idolize where we live. We can't idolize what we drive. We can't idolize where we work. We can't idolize things like you got it and you did it on your own. Not this year. This year, God is calling for us to remember him, to remember he is the one. Remember that there's no one greater, nobody greater than you. Remember that there's nothing that is too hard for him, nothing too big for him, and that he is the one that is at the apex of anything that can move in your life. It only moves through him. It is through him that we live and we move and we have our being. Remember what didn't move for you. There was stuff that didn't move for you. The doctors may have given prognosis and they didn't move for you. They stayed where they were because you thought what the doctor said was enough to keep you stagnant. Well, I've had some doctors say some things to me, but I want to give you something that I know from the bottom of my heart, and that is God is still bigger than any physician. He's still bigger than any attorney. Remember what didn't move for you as you walk into this year. Step 2. And step 3. Step 3 is what he says in the text. The very last thing he says is, I know the plans for your future, and I'll tell you what's to come. Remember who has the plans for what's next. That's step 3 for the year. Remember who has the plans for what's next. It ain't you. We can sit here and map out our whole year of what we want to do. We can go and get our calendars filled up with activities and things that we want to do in a year. And I'm not telling you not to plan. It's great to plan. Oh, yes, I want to go do some things. I got things I want to do, traveling what we want to do. I got plans already made for March. But guess what? Remember who owns the plans. He says in the text, I can do whatever I want. So even if you make the plans, you have to know that it is God's purpose that's going to prevail. No matter what we plan, it's him who is able to control even that. Remember who has the plans for what's next. It ain't us. It's God. Only God knows if this is our last moment, second, hour, day, or even our last year on this planet. And so those 3 things I want us to remember. If you've highlighted this text, remember who got you here. Remember what didn't move for you. Who didn't move for you. Remember who has the plans for what's next. And then, as I come to a close, I will close with this. Remember who is the same God. The same God. Keep up with him because he won't change. We keep up with him by continuing to study the word. We keep up with him by continuing to pray and see what his will is for our life. We keep up with him by continuing to observe and see what God is doing and listening for that still small voice all throughout this year. Because he's the same God. He will never change. As I come to a close, I'm reminded of an odometer on my dad's old car. He had an odometer and the odometer became broken. What that means was whatever the needle was stuck on, it stayed at that level. If the needle was stuck on half, it stayed at half. If it's stuck on a quarter of a tank, it's stuck on a quarter of a tank. But if it's stuck on full, it'd be stuck on full. What that meant was the needle wouldn't change. It'd stay in the position that it was in. And what my dad had to do was, because the needle was the same, he had to keep up with how much gas was in the car. Meaning he had to be in tune with where he was going and what he was doing so that he could make sure he didn't run out of gas because the needle didn't change. And all I want to tell somebody is that you've got to keep up with God because he won't change. I've got to stay prayed up and stay connected to him because he won't change. I've got to keep up with him because his plans for my life could move at any moment. He can lead you in this direction or lead you in that direction or lead you into, you might thinking you're going into retirement and God says something else. You've got to stay in tune with him because he won't change. He's going to stay the same God. And I declare and decree to all of you that the same God that got you through 2023 is the same God that'll lead you through 2024. The same God. And so it begins. Happy New Year. Let me go to the chat. I believe we might have some people in here, and I love to interact. If I'm able to interact with folk, let me see. I see Mother Martha. Happy New Year. My sister Crystal, Happy New Year. My mom in love, Happy New Year, Ma. Sister Doris, bless you. Happy New Year. Yes, he carried us. Never changing God. Yes, Mother Martha. We can shout to that. Friends change. Family switch up on you. But I'm so glad. Woo. It's the same God. Shout myself on that one. All right. Well, that's all I got for you guys today. And pray that God bids you a good night. We'll come in of course, for prayer on Wednesday. We're getting back to praying together. And we have a bunch of things planned for this year. And like I said, we're trying to update some technology. We're trying to get better at this. So we got some new software on the way. And so we got some things we're trying to do a lot better. And of course, the lives, sometimes they'll be like this where I'm in, and then sometimes they'll be another way. So just stay in tune with us. You know, you got to stay in tune, right? Because God don't change, but sometimes we got to change, but God doesn't change. All right. Well, I bid you all a good night and Happy New Year. Enjoy. And if y'all got them y'all got the pictures of your black eyed peas and your greens, man, why don't you do Manuel everywhere a favor and throw us some pictures of the food in our chat today? I want to see some of it. I want to see what y'all got, what y'all working with. Let me see them greens. All right. Well, God bless y'all. And just as much as I loved you in 2023, I love you in 2024. God bless you.